Everyone. Glad you guys are going to join me tonight. I'm talking to two people who I think are very brilliant. So I'm glad you guys are here. Oh, hello. So I'm just waiting for, oh, there she is. Sundal's joined. 1 second. Oh, hey there. Hi, guys. Hi, Syra. 1 minute. All right. If you want to, all right, I've invited you, Sundal. A little bit. I hope everyone's good. I just wanted to mention, oh, hi.
Hi. How are you doing? How was your conference?
Oh, that was boring. You know, when I think most of the time they're always so interesting and like you get excited to learn new things, and then there's always one where you're like, okay, this is one of those ones where I have to just get through it and try to focus.
Was it Palestine related or something else?
No, it was a diversity training that was not very diverse, so it was frustrating. It was really interesting to see. I've never been on something like that where you just have white people talking about diversity. It's like, am I the only one that's seeing this here?
I saw your post about that. Yeah, that was interesting, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy. So how are you?
Yeah, good. I'm good. Thanks for inviting me on. I'm excited to meet Dr. Sulaiman and see what I watched your lives last night. It seems like they are getting really, really organized there. So that's really good to see.
Yeah, it's funny to see something that, I mean, I've not been involved in something like this where it just sort of comes together in weeks and you think, okay, this is working.
Yeah.
We keep going, you know, it's amazing. Oh, there he is. Hello, Dr. Sulaiman.
Hello, hi. Hello. Hello, hi, Sandal.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You as well. Hi, how are you, Bridget, today?
Good. Just, you know, getting through the day. I just saw a post that was a lovely lady, MLK, saying to people that some people are saying it might seem like, you know, our support for Palestine is waning or like the movement is slowing down. And she's saying like, maybe it's you. Maybe you need a break if you see it that way, because there's people showing up every protest. There's so much going on, you know, and it's just an interesting way to look at our perspective on these things. How do you think it is, Sandal? You're in Mexico City? I thought you were in London.
No, I'm not in Mexico City. I'm actually on the coast in Oaxaca State. So there's not really many direct actions here. But I think a lot of the people that I've spoken to are just kind of deepening into the work. So they're figuring out like how they can offer support based on what their area of expertise is, whether it's journalism or whether it's, you know, like writing. You know, a lot of the people I know are in the healing and wellness space. So, you know, I initiated into Kriya Yoga a few years ago, and some of the Kriya yogis that follow me started offering like free sessions and free just offerings for the international community or anybody who's affected. I've also, and I wanted to let everyone know that if anyone's Palestinian and they want access to my course, which is Kriya Yoga, it's very, very effective modality for healing trauma, then just DM me and I'll give you free access to it.
That's amazing.
That's wonderful. Yeah. That's really great. That's very wonderful. Yeah. So first, I'm really honored to know people like you who are really trying to support our cause and to support Palestinians in general. This really means a lot to us. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what this means to you and how you were helping Palestinians or the Palestinian cause. And maybe you can share with us some of the stories that you have faced once you started to get that route, because I also know it's not very easy for some people to support Palestine in the West, because sometimes problems start to happen, like with some people that we might have a live with later today. So there are things that happen that are out of control just because people are supporting Palestine. We are also having a lot of censorship here on Instagram, for example. many things that we post or things that we do, eventually they get deleted or they deactivate accounts that are linked to us, like the Gaza Cancer Relief account, which is related to evacuating children. So how was that experience for you, if you can tell us a little bit?
Well, I mean, obviously speaking up about it, you do attract a lot of people who want to attack you or accuse you of all different types of things. But I'm kind of no stranger to that because I've been doing activism for many years. Yeah, when it comes, the Palestine issue can be difficult for a lot of people because they get accused of being anti-Semitic. But, you know, I've been researching not just the Palestine issue, but just some of the deeper, the more esoteric aspects behind the history of what's going on in like the true 12 tribes. So I know that the term, firstly, I know just on a surface level what the term Semitic means. Palestinians are Semitic. So speaking up for Palestinians is not anti-Semitic by definition. Also, you know, when I kind of got into anti-war activism many years ago, like more than 10 years ago, and I attended a couple of protests for Palestine then, you know, like at the Israeli embassy. And I was very surprised at my first protest to see like Hasidic Jews there in the full, you know, hat and, you know, the curls get up. And I was really surprised at first. The first time I saw them, I thought that maybe they were like a counter protest. And I was very young. I was like 22 at the time. And then some of my fellow activists were like, no, these are anti-Zionist Jews. They say that the Torah is completely, that Zionism is not compatible with their religion. And that was my first exposure to that like the most strictest adherents of the Jewish religion are actually anti-Zionist. But yeah, it's only the last 4 months that
I want to add to that point a little bit, because right now when we talk about Palestine, what we are talking about is saving children's lives. We are talking about humanity and basic things. We are not talking about anything that is really political in any way. So the way that we are talking about it, which is saving the lives of these children, these people who are being right now killed in mass murder, mass numbers of people are being killed every day now. This is just common sense.
Yeah.
It's what a human would do. It has nothing to do with religion, and it doesn't really take two brain cells to figure out what's really going on and how people should react about it.
Yeah, that's so true. Obviously, yeah, of course.
Okay, so I'm really glad of everything that you have been doing for the past years, because I understand this is not even the first time that you stand for Palestine and the Palestinian cause. So this really means a lot to me to know that. Let me tell you a little bit about what we are doing, and maybe then the audience can know about this, and they can also tell people in Gaza who might benefit from this. So when the war started, first it was individual acts. So we had people like Bridget and others like Joshua who were talking about Palestine. We had me, who I was as a doctor trying to provide telemedicine services to people in Gaza. But it was all individual acts, you know, it was not really organized. And then by chance or by destiny or whatever you want to call it, we started to know each other and we started to develop a family, and that family came to be known as the Gaza Relief Network. Now, that Gaza Relief Network, it's all about being human and doing the right thing. All we care about is helping people in every way possible. So there are many things that we are doing right now to people in Gaza. We are providing aid. Every day we have like 50 or 60 families that are reached in Rafah through the Gaza Relief Network, where we provide food and diapers for children and things like that. And also we are providing telemedicine services to people in Gaza who need these services right now desperately. And we try to find for them medications and everything that is survival related. So we have a network of journalists right now in Gaza, in Rafah and in the middle zone. And this network of journalists, they are very resourceful. So whenever we need to find something or someone, like in the case of Bridget, we needed also to find a friend that she really wanted to know something about. It's possible to find these things because of this network that we have now. And this is like what I call practical information for people in Rafah. Like if you have this or if you have that, where you should do to get help, where you should go to get that specific medicine, or to find that specific person who will help you in whatever you need. So this is something that is unique to the Gaza Relief Network. I don't think other people are able to do this, but because of our organization, really we can actually provide on the ground advice to people where they can go, and to do specific things. And we have been working with the Gaza Candle Relief also to help sick children to get evacuated, and this has also been working. So what we do is we provide medical reports for anyone who we think might benefit from a referral for care outside. And we were lucky. So we do have some luck, especially with cancer patients. We were able to evacuate them for their treatment and their safety. Yeah, so this is what we are doing for the Palestinian cause right now as the Gaza Relief Network. But the reality is we have a problem with reach, and we have a problem with not too many followers yet. And this is why we are approaching great people like you, who really are pro-Palestine, and they are, supporting Palestine in every way possible, and also hoping that through you and your activism, people can know about us, because the whole thing that we do, the only way for it to actually succeed is to have enough reach that people know about it. If people don't know, and from day one, we discovered there is a lot of misinformation during this war, just like any other thing. And there is also a lot of people who are just uninformed about many things. They just don't know what is this and what is available and what is not available to them. And we thought that one of the ways to solve that problem is to talk with the people who have followers who can help, spread the word. There is this thing that's called Gaza Relief Network, and this is what we do, and this is how we are helping.
Yeah, one of the big things we find is that people are intense and are losing hope, aren't well, need medicine, and don't know that there is medicine that's not that far away. It's like it makes such a huge difference. I have a friend now that's feeling better from it, and it's like, just to hear how much of an impact that has on his wife and his children. It really, even the little things make a big impact.
Yeah. Because once these people stop really fighting for life, and they lose hope, then they will not, take any precautions to save their lives. Because I will tell you what happens. So some people they really develop depression because of what is going on, and they go into major depressive disorder. And I don't know, the yoga classes that you mentioned, do you also give something like virtual or only in class classes?
So I have a self-study course, and it's all virtual, so people can just do it at their own pace, and it's very comprehensive for healing trauma. It uses breath and kriyas, which are basically like tapping different parts of the body to release different trauma.
Which I think would be great for people in Gaza to know about. But the issue is, I think this will really be useful post-war, once the war ends, because then people will have good internet connection, and people will have enough electricity to actually charge their phones and to watch that content. And I can tell you the amount of trauma that these people are suffering, it's really unprecedented. So usually when we talk about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, we are talking about a single event, and then after 2 or 3 months of processing, we have people who have PTSD. Here we have continuous trauma for almost 4 months now. So I don't even know what I can call this. And we have generations of young people who are going through this. And I think your approach will really help if they know about this. So I will make sure that everyone that I get into contact with, especially those who are having problems in, processing a trauma, I will make sure that they know about this initiative of yours.
Yeah.
Sandal, can you explain about it more for people that are just joining or anybody that catches this later? Can you talk more about your yoga program?
Yeah, so it's Himalayan Kriya Yoga, and we just use breath work and moving the energy around the body, and then dynamic movement. So basically tapping, hitting, and then using the breath to actually purify not just the physical body, but the emotional body and also the causal body, which is the mental body, where we think. That's where, thoughts are generated and manifested into our physical body. Those get completely rewired. So very, very fast for healing trauma. I mean, for me, it's put me on a completely new timeline. And I'm also connected with lots of other teachers. So I can ask any of them if they want to also make their programs available to people in Gaza or Palestinians in exile as well.
Interesting. What a good idea.
Yeah.
Because
I think we are working as a Gaza Relief Network. We are working on something that we call the post-war plan. And I think in our post-war plan, hopefully one day soon this war will end, we have to think of every possible way that we can help those Gazans, those poor people who are there. So it will really be a great addition to everything that we are thinking about. And, for me as a doctor, what I say always is, if something is working and there is evidence that it's working, then this is usually enough. This is the whole idea of what we call randomized clinical trials in medicine, which in some cases, maybe you don't find a very clear medical explanation of why something works, especially when it comes to psychiatry. But eventually what is really important is that there is an effect that is clearly higher than a placebo effect, than just a placebo effect. And what I know about yoga and also meditation is that their effects appear to be quite higher than what you would expect from a placebo effect. And just from that, I know that they are working. And this is why I really think what you are doing is very important.
Yeah.
The thing that's amazing about that too is that I could imagine that just of plain yoga practice maybe isn't enough because your mind's still wandering, but where tapping totally takes you out of that and makes you so much more present than you would be otherwise. I want to try. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's similar to the EFT tapping, where they repeat an affirmation and then tap on certain parts of the body. So basically it almost disrupts and clears debris from the meridians. So Kriya Yoga works like that on your whole body. So it just opens up the meridians, gets the energy flowing, and the testimonials I'm getting from people that have done the course, I was really not even expecting that people would get such benefits from it. Yeah.
And do you have testimonials from people who did have trauma or PTSD? And it helped them?
Most of my clients have been through really intense stuff, child sexual abuse and a lot of different types of abuse. And I haven't had any client I've had some clients that have experienced ancestral trauma from war, but not directly been in a war zone. But I feel confident that it would definitely help.
Yeah. From a medical point of view, there is really no evidence that the type of a trauma can really have an effect on the different types of treatment. As long as something is working for a specific stressor, it's expected that it can work for other types of stressors that can also cause PTSD. So this is why I really have high hopes in the yoga classes that you are making. And I think we must include them in our post-evacuation plan once we start helping those people after the war, because we have too many plans, but these plans, they will depend on Gaza having good internet connection again and having the ability to communicate again. Right now, In order for people to use our telemedicine services, for you to understand how difficult it is, they have to go to certain points where we have journalists with good internet connection, like they go to Brahim's Beta, for example, and people like that. And they have to use the internet connection that these journalists have, and then they can actually talk with us, and we can have I can have a Zoom call with them or help them. So it's really not easy, and this is why I think we can even do much more once this war ends. We can do much more to people in Gaza to help them, and this is why I hope that once all of this ends, people don't go back to their normal lives. They have to remember the damage that happened to Gaza. According to the UNRWA, it will take until 2094 for Gaza to go to pre-war. So it will take 70 years.
Yeah. Dr. Sulaiman, can you please explain some, or just share some examples of the things that people are coming to you for? Even though it's obvious, but I think there's so many simple or quick solutions that you've helped people with that people may not expect.
Yeah. Okay. So in many cases, the consultations that we receive are very simple questions. I was taking a drug A for hypertension, for example, but the UNRWA clinic told us it's only drug B that is available, for example, and how I can use that drug. And because they don't have enough time to communicate with their doctors right now in Gaza, most of the time they stop taking their medications altogether, and they come to us with very high blood pressure readings. If this kept going, they could have ended in a stroke, you know, or something like that. But then, just with a few words and explaining what is the correct dosage and how they can benefit from this new medication that is available to them, their hypertension becomes very well controlled again, after it was completely uncontrolled for almost 1 or 2 months, just because they didn't know how they can use the new medication. So this is one example. The other thing that we helped is, so there are some people who are approaching us asking for specific medications that are available in Egypt but not available in Gaza. And we were able to get these medications, but not for free. They still had to pay for them, but we were able to get them inside Gaza. So the whole idea of what we are doing, it can only work if people know about us, if people know what we are actually doing. Because in our case, we are really providing individual care. It's in medicine, we have an approach in medicine that's called individual medicine. And that approach of medicine is where you have a plan for every single person that is really individualized to that person, according to their circumstances and according to what they are living right now and their life right now. And the only way for this to help as many people as we can is if as many people can know about us as we can. And this is another example. Also aid, we were really we wanted to get aid into Gaza and you know, give to those people. So I will tell you an example. Few days ago, some aid organizations, big aid organizations, were able to get flour into Rafah. And because usually the society there, it's men who go to get aid, what happened is most families that didn't have a man to go to get that aid, they couldn't get anything because the men went to the trucks and they looted everything. And they just took everything up by force. And most of the families that no longer have, you know, a man-able person to go, they couldn't, you know, help themselves. So our solution for that was very simple. We did have a flour, the Gaza Relief Network, for the past few days, and we started registering people through forms, and we only told a small group of people every 1 or 2 hours that now they can go to get aid. And by doing just this simple thing, it's just some organization and being strict with people, and at the same time working with the smaller numbers of people, we were able to give aid to anyone who really needed aid. So, and most of the people that came to us were actually women. So it's clear that this was a problem in Rafah for the past few months. So yeah, so we are doing what we can. I hope we can do more, but we are doing what we can.
Someone had mentioned having a way to connect off of this platform, and yes, make sure you're following all of us, because we're working on a Telegram channel very soon. It will be out in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So right now we started first by making lists of medications. So now we have a list of what is available in the UNRWA clinics, what is available in 2 private clinics in Rafah at reasonable prices. At some point, we might even start getting donations to get medicines for people. We can think about it, how much these medications cost. But according to the 2 pharmacies, they have them at reasonable prices, not, you know, extraordinary prices. We also have lists of medications of what is available in Yusuf al-Najjar Hospital, which is a governmental hospital. And again, this is really unique to us. We are the only network that was able to get this information to people in this organized manner. And it's all practical. The way we think about it is, if someone comes and asks us a question, when we respond to that person, we tell them what they can do in very simple words, so that they are in a better condition as compared to the condition that they presented to us with. It's working, but we still have a problem with reach. So I hope that will be solved soon. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting there. I know it doesn't help when we're all banned, but we're getting there.
Yeah, that's also true. So today, I don't even remember that I commented to anyone, but today I made a comment on a video, and then Instagram told me I cannot make comments. And you know, I'm pro-Palestinian, but I'm maybe the least person that talks politics about anything. Maybe you already noticed this from my profile. I really don't get into anything controversial. All I talk about is just common sense, you know.
Yeah.
And they banned us. I mean, they banned an account that was for evacuating children. So I think there is no law now. Yeah,
they've been doing it a lot for the most innocuous comments, like a comment like "We're praying for you all in Palestine," and then they'll remove it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I sent congratulations to a friend on having a baby, and it got banned or removed. I mean, I'm like, it's not even any words are in there that have anything to do with anything, but who knows? I don't know what the method is.
And for them, they always have their algorithm and AI to blame. So you never know whether someone is really doing this on purpose or it's their algorithms. But for them, now this is the answer. For anything that happens that doesn't make sense, it's AI and it was a mistake. But then it happens again. So yeah, but the question is why it only happens to pro-Palestinians, why it doesn't happen to the other side. Yeah, so yeah, but okay. Most people know now what is really happening, so yeah.
Well, that leads me into the next thing I want to say about people knowing what's happening. Sandal, your YouTube is so interesting. Everyone needs to go check out your YouTube videos, because you talk about a lot of things I find people aren't really talking about, or people don't see connections in.
Really?
Well, do you find, like, what's people's reaction to your videos? And I mean, you're talking about all this stuff in American politics. I'm like, how do you know all of these things in the same brain?
I mean, well, a lot of the truth seekers and activists that I know are actually from the States, and US politics kind of tends to dominate. US politics is global politics, because what the US does kind of affects everyone. So it's important for us to know what's happening with US politics, but it's all kind of, I see it all operating as one system. Like I don't see these countries as being completely separate from each other. I'm not saying that they don't have their own sovereignty, but we know that there's a lot of corruption in, I mean, I'm from Pakistan, so, you know, we had Imran Khan, and he was doing a lot of good things and a lot of people supported him, and then he was recently just taken out, kidnapped, and put in a military prison. So, you know, that's kind of something that I see a lot happening with global South countries, that whenever a government tries to do the right thing for the people, oh, that person is a dictator, or we need to remove them. And, you know, so yeah, I've just been studying these things for many years, but also my partner is American as well.
This is something which is, I think, it's the idea. It's the whole idea of colonialism, or the whole idea of colonial forces, where people think a specific race or a specific thing is more superior to another, because for me it doesn't really make sense at all for anyone to get involved with the politics of another country, and then they say they want to help that country. It's not, I mean, we also, what happened with many other countries, that the US wanted to help. So right now the situation there is much worse than before. Even when it came to terrorism, right now it's much worse there as compared to before. So this is why, but for me, I always say that this is something that is not specific to us, to a religion, because whenever you had someone that was too strong, they saw themselves as better than the other people. And this happened with colonial countries, this happened with Christianity at some point, this happened even with Islam at some point before like 1,000 years ago, when they were strong. And this is the whole idea, which is no one should think of themselves as superior to another. No one should ever think that they have a better solution, or they are more civilized, or they are more, because this is just pure racism. And I think this has been happening. So in one of my posts, I suggested that for the whole world has never known global peace for more than 6,000 years, if you go back to history. So the reality is people will always fight over something. And what we should do is to minimize this fighting and to decrease the differences between people as much as we can, and just make everyone together. And we should not, you know, create conditions for people to fight. We should not really make life, you know, like we should not make the environment that something that will eventually incite a fight, whatever that environment is. Because the reality is, this is how everything has been since known history, and people will always fight. So this is the other thing, which is, I think people should stop thinking of who is winning and who is losing. This is not the question anymore. The question is, do we want lives to be saved? And for that, we need a ceasefire. We need to stop fighting. And the only way to prevent war is for it to never happen in the first place. So this is why we should really think what caused this war, what really happened, and then we have to try to change ourselves and change our politics. I'm trying to use my words like very carefully what I'm trying to say, but the bottom line is, I think the 29,000 deaths so far and the 1,200 deaths on the other side, they could have been prevented. They were preventable deaths.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, no one worked on preventing that for the past 75 years. There were mistakes happening for 75 years. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to say that. I'm very careful with my words because I don't want anyone to think that I'm against anyone. Let's say it like that. Yeah. I'm very careful with my words, and also to be honest, so most of the people that are really helping me, even in my campaign, are Jews. So this is why the reality is, I can see that we have much more in common than we have things to fight upon. And even for people who don't know about me, but I was a member of something called the Canadian International Scientific Program of Pediatric Medicine for 1 or 2 years, and I still have contact with them. And the whole purpose of that program was to bring Palestinians, Israelis, and Canadians together with one aim, which is to provide medicine and medical care for everyone, and that everyone is the same. This is the organization that I was affiliated with when I was in Canada. And it did pay out now, because I can say that aid is getting in because of some of the connections that I had at that time. But this is the whole idea, which is people can live together if they choose to. It's unfortunate. The reality is people are not choosing, or not people, it's governments who are not choosing this.
Well,
Yeah,
people have been brainwashed. I mean, it's
exactly.
very insidious. I mean, I was watching an interview with Nurid Peled El Hanan, who is Miko Pelad's sister, and she said it's even in the education system, like in the school books, like they don't talk about Palestine, they don't talk about Palestinians. Even the photos, they'll, like, when they show photos of Palestine before Israel existed, they'll desaturate them to make them look really, to make it look deserty, to make it look like it's not lush, abundant. It's so insidious, just the brainwashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this is why we have activists who are talking about history and real history and what has been happening. All I can say is we are trying our best to help Gaza right now by using the Gaza Relief Network. And at the same time, we are also in a lot of stress because we are trying to get our families out.
Yeah.
So this is something else that I would also like to mention, which is I do have the family of my wife stuck in Gaza, in Rafah, to be more accurate. And it has proved to be, unfortunately, very difficult to get them out, mainly because of money.
Yeah.
So it costs about 5,000 to 6,000 US dollars per adult to get them out right now. And there are many issues here. So the first issue is we have a deadline, because on the 10th of March, Israel has made the claim that if nothing is reached in terms of negotiations or release of hostages or something by the 10th of March, then the ground operation will start in Rafah, which will be really devastating to people in Rafah and especially to our family as well. And then we also know it takes about 1 to 2 weeks to get them checked through security. So even if we have the money, we have to give this 1 or 2 weeks of a processing time until their names are actually released, and then they can leave Rafah to Egypt. And the other issue is we are simply short of by about 20,000 US dollars for the whole family. This is a family of 6 people that we are trying to get, the siblings and the father and mother of my wife. So this is also a cry for help. If anyone here listening, they think that this family deserves a second chance, I can vouch for them. They are really nice people if you get to know them. And all they want is just a second chance in life. They just want to live and to give back. They are already giving now because they are helping us with distributing aid on the ground in Rafah. And once they get the chance to get out and start over, they will be able to even give more to the society.
Yeah.
So anyone if they...
Yeah, they're more than just nice people. I mean, they're spending all of their days distributing food, running around searching for some of my friends and everyone else's friends and family that needs help.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry to do, but there's a lot.
I know, but it's yeah, like I always explain. So for us Palestinians, this is like an obligation. So we really feel we are obliged to do all of this to the society that we are in, especially that most people didn't get a say in any of this. They didn't choose any of the things that led to this reality. So this is why we are trying to help everyone who is around us. And if someone thinks they can help the family, please help. The GoFundMe link is in my bio. It is already pinned there. So if anyone can help, this will be really great. Yeah, it is in my bio. So the GoFundMe link is in my bio. It is the Israq family.
Yeah, so we'll be sure to share that as well. So if anybody watching on the live is not able to donate, definitely do share in your stories, ideally on the feed as well. More people will see it on the feed. You can even put it as a fundraiser feed post so it stays in your bio.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. So I think it's really important that we get as much details as we can about the yoga classes and the yoga course that you will be providing, and to understand every detail we can about this so that we can include it with our post-war plans. Even for people who get evacuated, many of them, Gaza Kinder Relief just contacted me 2 days ago. They were saying that there was a child in the US who was already evacuated, and that child now has typical PTSD, nightmares, bedwetting, and so on. Actually, she's a 17 years old kid, so I don't know whether that is a child in the US or not, but for me, anyone who is younger than 18, I say child.
Yeah,
But the bottom line is that the kid, I think she can also benefit from your yoga classes. And I imagine there are many other people like that who would really need every help that they can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you access to it so that you can check it out for yourself. Like after this call,
Yeah.
I'll give you a code to access it for free so you can try it and
Yes.
then
It will also be good to know how much it will eventually cost people, because then we can also include that in the post-evacuation fund, because we are going to create a post-evacuation fund eventually that will include many things. So it will include medical consultations for the first 1 or 2 months for people once they leave. It will include rent services. This is a plan. It's a long-term plan. So we are still in the process of planning everything. We didn't even start yet, but we don't want those who leave once they get evacuated to feel like they are abandoned. We want them to feel that we will give them a hand to start over, and after 2 or 3 months, then they can start over. Hopefully, they will be independent again, because the whole idea of this program would be to make people as independent as possible in the shortest period of time.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I'm not going to charge for access to the course.
That's amazing. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about figuring out how to put it up really soon, because I know we know a few mothers that have been able to leave and have had babies, and they could use some yoga. Just time to like.
Yeah. So it's already pre-recorded, so I can just give anybody access to it.
Cool.
Okay, and we can also pin that. We can put that in the bio for the Gaza Relief Network profile that we are building, which only has 2 followers so far. But
Huge.
Yeah. Okay, it was really wonderful talking to you. I think this was one of the lives that I really enjoyed, and it was really great to know you.
Likewise.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Perfect. Well,
Perfect.
soon. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Everyone. Glad you guys are going to join me tonight. I'm talking to 2 people who I think are very brilliant. So